Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Mortal Kombat 1/12 scale Shao Kahn action figure from Storm Collectibles. That's right, my friends. I have been very excited about this one. I think the Mortal Kombat figures from Storm have been pretty fantastic so far. I've really liked the ninjas. I reviewed Scorpion way back when he first came out, and they've been some pretty quality-made toys with looks that are based more on the classic games like Mortal Kombat 2, and I think that is so cool. So the ninjas have been great, but getting news of another character, specifically here with Shao Kahn and his throne, well, that is pretty exciting, so let's check this guy out. As you can see, this massive figure comes in an equally massive window box, fully showcasing the figure and all his accessories, and of course, the throne that he is sitting upon. The back of that box will give you some turnarounds of the figure itself, showing you some different poses. So let's go ahead and get this guy pulled out of the box and get a closer look at him. So this line is in the 1/12 scale, so the standard ninjas are right at 7 inches tall. Shao Kahn here is much bigger. If I bring in the tape measure, you can see that this dude is over 8 inches tall. And when you stand him next to the standard ninjas that have already been released, you can see how this dude towers over those figures. Not only is he taller than them, but he is bigger and bulkier than them, exactly as he should be. This dude looks amazing. So just check out all of the awesome details here. So he definitely looks like he appears in pretty much any of the Mortal Kombat games. I mean, this is dating back to Mortal Kombat 2, but even the more recent Mortal Kombat games, he's got a very standard look. And I think it translates really well into action figure form. All the way down to that signature kind of half skull silver helmet that he's wearing, which by the way, is removable, fully revealing his ugly face underneath. So that is pretty cool stuff. So the helmet is actually kind of a pliable plastic. You can see it's a little squishy. I can kind of bend it and move it around there, and it just fits right over his head. It actually sits on there really nicely because of the material it's made of. You know, it's not loose. It doesn't fall off or anything like that. You do have to kind of work it a little bit to get it to line up so you can actually see his eyes through the eye sockets, but otherwise it does sit pretty nicely on his head there. So, I talked about that pliable plastic, and that's something I definitely want to talk about with the rest of this figure, because there is a lot of really soft pieces of plastic on here. The shoulder pads are really gummy. The same can be said for the spiked bracers on his forearms. These are made of a very soft plastic. This might be a safety thing because of the spikes. That might be why they made it so soft. But that same rubbery material is used for the harness on his chest, the loincloth piece. You can see how pliable that is, as well as the pieces on the shins, the shin guards there. But in addition to that, the hands are also made of that very gummy plastic. I mean, look at the way I can bend his fingers around. And this seems to be the same for all of the included hands here, and I'll show you that in just a bit. But even the torso here, this chest piece is like built over a torso underneath. That's the way they kind of built it up. So the muscles are soft and squishy, and it's a bit weird. When I first picked this figure up, that is not something I was expecting. So it's actually really gummy and soft, like all around the neck and everything. So the legs and the arms are a harder plastic, but there's a lot of soft plastic here. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I mean, he looks great. Everything is sitting just fine, but that might be something that some people don't really like. And I'm always worried when the hands are really gummy on a toy, because if you're going to pose him with his weapon, I worry about how that's going to warp the figure over time and he'll ultimately drop the weapon or kind of bend the hand. So it's definitely worth noting. Alright, before we move any further, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. I'm actually going to remove the helmet so we can run down all of the articulation here. So the head is on a joint that allows him to look left, right, as well as slightly move up and down. Now I'm going to pop this off because he does have an interchangeable head. We'll get to that in just a bit. But here you can see that kind of softer rubbery piece that is built over the torso. So the neck peg is extending out above that. Because of that, it definitely hinders the motion just a little bit. Now you can still move the head up and down, but you can see how it's kind of rubbing against the plastic that is used there, that softer plastic. So be warned that that might hinder the movement just a bit, but otherwise it's still a pretty good range of motion. The arms are ball jointed. The straps here are actually part of the sculpt, so they're not actually part of the harness, which is actually really nice. So there's nothing that gets in the way of the articulation there. It works really nice. He's also got that extra joint kind of like in the torso there, which allows him to bend his arms forwards and even backwards a little bit further, so that's pretty nice. You got swivels at the bicep there. You got double joints at the elbow, so that's a great range of motion. And then you've got swivels there at the wrist as well as hinges at the wrists. So you can see it's nice. It's ball jointed underneath, so that rolls all the way around, can move forwards and backwards. Pretty great range of motion. So you can see he's got a torso cut articulation there, which is pretty nice. The abs right here are like a actual harder plastic than this right here. So this is that softer plastic, but you can see it still like articulates all the way around there, so that's pretty good. You do have the ball-like hinge joints at the thighs. They're very tight, which is really good. So legs can go outwards, forwards, backwards. You can swivel it there at the thighs as well. You got nice double joints on the knees. I love the spike knee pads here, by the way, kind of covering that, which is really cool. And then for the ankles, you can bend the ankles up and down. You can rock them side to side, and you even got those toe joints. And I will say the articulation is nice and tight all the way around on this guy, so you should be able to get some pretty cool poses out of him, and he also stands and balances really well. So I mentioned the interchangeable head and the interchangeable hands, so just take a look here at all of the accessories that he comes with. He's got a lot going on. So let's go ahead and show you some of that here just a bit. We'll go ahead and start with the interchangeable head. So he comes with just a standard head with kind of like a very frowny face. So we can pop that right off that ball joint like I showed you a second ago, and in its place we can take this new head. You have to give it a nice firm press to really lock it on the joint there, but this is a much angrier head. You can see he's got the brow there and the angrier eyes. He's gritting his teeth, so this is a much more angry, kind of a battle-ready Shao Kahn head. When you put the helmet on, it's not really as noticeable. Obviously, that covers it. You can still see the mouth kind of creeping out the bottom there, though. So the hands that come on the figure are these open hands because he's sitting on the throne. More on that in just a bit. But he comes with several other hands as well, including closed fists and kind of some more relaxed hands. He's got gripping hands for his hammer accessory, and my favorite, he's got the pointing finger, which is such a classic pose. He's got the exact same hands for both arms, so that way you can pose them any way you want. All you gotta do is pop the hand right off that joint there. It's a little peg joint, and then you can take the new hand and you can put it in its place there. It might have to work it in just a little bit the first time you swap it on. I've noticed that these are, because of these hands are like that gummier material, you almost have to like work the hole out so that it fits the peg a little bit better, but just a little bit of work, you should be able to get that on there. I gotta say, this pointing finger has got to be my favorite. You weak, pathetic fool. So iconic for the character. It's like you can hear him saying it when you pose him this way. It's really, really great. So if we swap on, I want to put on the gripping hand here, because we're going to show you the hammer accessory. Now, I want to show you this too. Sometimes when you go to swap the hands, the little connector joint actually pops out of the ball socket there. That's totally fine. It's all interchangeable both sides. It's a peg on one side and a little ball joint on the other. So if that happens, it actually works a little bit easier to kind of attach it to the hand, and then you can easily just pop the ball joint right back in there. So I mentioned that the hands are all made of that softer material. So you can see the gripping hand is a little gummy. The hammer is really nice. It's all solid plastic. It's got a very cool kind of gritty shine to it. There's blood splatters on it, which is perfect. And of course the Mortal Kombat tournament logo. So you can place this in his hand, and since he's got that gummy hand, it's pretty easy to flex the hand around the hammer. But this is kind of where I'm worried about eventually. You can see it's already a little droopy and a little wobbly in his hand. Now, it's cool because you can get two-handed poses out of him, so you can get him holding onto the hammer with both hands, and it is still a really, really nice accessory. I would just be a little wary of those gummier hands. Okay, so the last thing I gotta show you is the throne. This is very, very cool. Now, it's made of like a vinyl material, so it's actually lightweight. It feels hollow inside, but it looks really cool. The sculpt is really nice here. It's like this gritty brown. You can see there's lots of dry brushing and stuff going on there to bring out the details. I love the skulls here on the arms of the throne. When you look at the backside, you've got the Mortal Kombat emblem right there. So it's really, really cool. If I bring in the tape measure, if you guys need an idea idea of the size of this thing, you can see it's almost a full 9 inches tall. It's about 7 inches in length. And Shao Kahn sits really, really perfectly on the throne. Just kind of get him in a nice seated position here. And what I love is you can actually bend the arms down. You get those nice open palms, and they rest perfectly up on the skulls on the arms of the throne. So you kind of work them out a little bit there, and man, you could get some really cool poses with them sitting in that iconic pose there in the throne. You can create some scenes of your own, like he's in the background watching the Mortal Kombat tournament unfold in front of him. I think that is just so cool, and I'm so glad that he came with this, because I imagine that a lot of people are going to want to display him this way. I think this is probably how I'm going to display him on my shelf, so I'm glad that it was included. All right, one last thing I want to do with this is with a little bit of a size comparison. I know a lot of you are probably going to want to see this. So here he is standing alongside a Masters of the Universe Classics figure, which are around the 7-inch scale, and a Marvel Legends figure in the 6-inch scale. So you can see that Shao Kahn here is huge when compared to those two toy lines. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the brand new Mortal Kombat Shao Kahn action figure from the folks over at Storm Collectibles. It's another great addition to the line. I think he looks fantastic. I think my only minor nitpick is all the softer plastic that's used on there, but that's only because I'm worried about durability over time. Otherwise, I think he's really great. The interchangeable pieces are awesome. I love the throne, and he looks great when posed with the rest of the combatants that are out there. Very much looking forward to more figures in this line, especially the upcoming Goro. Really cool stuff. So this guy's available online now at specialty shops that carry the stuff from Storm Collectibles, such as BigBadToyStore.com. He's a bit on the pricey side. He's going to run you just shy of $100. So happy hunting, my friends. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, leave me a comment, and let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time, my friends.